All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Women of Color in Film, Television, and Media. Y'all give it up for our new panelists. All right, so we have Shanalyna Palmer. Did I get that right? Yay! Okay. Aigne Morris and Shaniece Williamson in the middle. All right, so we're going to jump right in, and we'll start on the end with you, Aigne, okay? And we are going to ask that you speak up a little bit louder in the mic since we have a lot of background. So where exactly are you from? What led you to film and television? And tell us about any significant projects that we would know from you guys or something that's special to you.
Hello, you can hear me? Hey, everybody. I'm Aigne.
Aigne, you're going to have to do better than that, girl. You got to speak up.
I gotta talk louder? Okay.
No, louder.
I got a soft voice, sorry. So, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I went to high school, did my first couple of years of college out there. I ended up in Atlanta because my mom passed away on my 19th birthday. And I just didn't want to be there no more. And I had kind of already knew I wanted to do TV and film. So my sister, I have a sister here, she was like, well, you can come here and finish school with me or whatever. And I was like, cool, I'm going to Atlanta, turn up or whatever. And I came here. I actually finished college. I graduated from Clark Atlanta, cum laude. I was 1 point away from Magna. I cried, but it's okay. And yeah, that's
awesome. Shaniece?
I'm from Queens. I'm from Queens, New York, but lived in Texas for a little bit, so I'm New York and Texas. What led me to film is I've always been interested since I was little. I watched a lot of TV. TV raised me, and wrote like my first story in elementary school. Wanted to do that, so I started writing my own stuff. I am a recovering paralegal. so last June, I quit my job, and I went to Georgia Film Academy, and went through that whole process, and interned on the show, and I have been working since then, based on just work. And then this lady here, Shanalyna, she's
the truth.
Yes, she's referred me for work, and which is why I worked on the Bobby Brown story, and currently working on American Soul for BT.
So the lady that everyone should know, Shanalyna, what's your background?
Okay, hi. My name is Shanalyna. People ask me where I'm from. I say I'm from my mama. I was born in New Jersey, did not stay in New Jersey. We move around a lot, so I always just go back to my mama. That's where everything starts for me, it's back home. I've been in the industry, I guess going on 19 years now. I started in 1999. I was very resistant to the industry. I went to school. I have a degree in theater studies from Swarthmore College. My intention was to then go into business and take over corporate America. I don't know, something with mothers. My mom had a car accident. Hey, there's my sister. So my mom is somewhere in here. Oh, there's my mom right there. Hi, Mommy. So, had a car accident, and so we came home. We helped her, get through that for 5 years. And then I was like, okay, well, what do I do now? I started doing a lot of temp work. We lived in North Carolina, Wilmington at the time. While doing temp work, I had a friend from college who came down to visit who loves to roller skate. And so I went roller skating with her. I broke my wrist, refused to accept that it was broken. And so they had to break it again and put a pin in it. So all this time, while it was broken and then re-broken, I wasn't working. So someone said, well, why don't you go do extra work? And I was like, well, what's extra work? What do you mean? And it's like being a background artist on a film set. And I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, and had no idea that there was any film industry at all in the Southeast. So I was like, okay, I can't use my hand to type. Had just gotten hired to work for a pharmaceutical company, but then couldn't take the job because of the broken wrist. So I started doing extra work. While I was doing extra work, I also volunteered at a theater that was in town. One of the people at a theater got hired on one of the shows that came into town and said, hey, why don't you, come check us out. So I went from an extra working on 28 Days of Sandra Bullock. I was like one of 15 people that they had stay that lived in the same group home with her. So yeah, you'll catch me in a robe like for 2 seconds, although it took us 2 months to film the whole thing. And so when my friend Emily got the job, I said, hey, I'll come volunteer with you guys. She did extras casting. But on the show before, she was an extra just like me. So you never know who you're sitting next to. That's like one of my biggest tips I always give people. You never know who you're talking to. You know, it could be the next person who does whatever, you know, it is. Or it could be the person that you need to make your thing take off. So anyway, I volunteered with her. The first day I went in, the assistant director came in and said, hey, we've got a lot of kids on the show. We've got a list of PAs who want to work on it. Who do you want to work with? And they turned to me and said, well, how about her? And the AD said, hey, do you want a PA? And I was like, sure. He left the room, and I looked at her, and I was like, what is a PA? Like, I had no idea what a PA was.
If someone doesn't know what a PA is, what is a PA?
It's a production assistant. We work for the assistant, for this particular job, I was working for the assistant directors, for the ADs. So that was my first job. It was a movie for a TNT, Freedom Song, and I dealt with the civil rights movements, and we had like hundreds of kids. It was like kids, the high school portion of the civil rights movement where the kids did the marches. So I sort of like became a big sister to like 200 kids, trying to figure out how to answer the walkie-talkie and handle kids that were passing out on the pavement because it was 100 degrees and hot and they wanted to be in the movie versus going home. So that was my first movie. I got lucky. The AD staff were from New York. They were impressed with my work that I didn't give up. It was a really tough show. And so they were like, hey, do you want to go to Atlanta? I have a friend who's working on a show in Atlanta, and that show happened to be Remember the Titans. And so that's how I got to Atlanta. I didn't know anybody in Atlanta. I didn't have a place to stay in Atlanta. One of the ADs was like, hey, you crashed with me and my wife. I was like, great. I came to Atlanta. He gets hit by a car while he was helping someone else on the side of the road. And so he was like, sorry, you got to go. I'm not working now. And so I was like, okay, well, what do I do? Because now I don't have a place to stay to do the job. And I was able to get a Teamster, which is the drivers, said, hey, I know someone who can help you out. And I was able to stay, do the job. And I've left Atlanta, come back, but I always wind up coming back to Atlanta. And there's stuff going on here now. For those that are interested in doing the film, you're in the right spot. In case you're wondering, am I in the right place right now? You really are. While things are small and still growing, you want to jump in there because that's when you can make a difference.
Awesome. I heard a lot of help up here. Did y'all hear a lot of help between all three of these ladies? Yes. Yeah, help in the industry. Let's talk about breaking in. I'm pretty sure. How many of you guys want to know how to break into the industry? Okay, there we go. Let's talk about breaking into the industry. Formal education versus hitting the set and working, hands-on experience. What do you recommend? What has been your background? What was your best way to break in? Tell me your story.
Okay, well, I broke in. I worked for free for 5 years. I started in 2011 interning, volunteering, stuff like that. And, you know, you just got to meet that right person and keep going. A lot of my friends have moved to LA. So I was like, okay, I'm just leave Atlanta, go to LA. But a lot of them would call back, like, crying, like, it's so expensive out here. We can't get no jobs, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, maybe I should just stay. And everybody kept telling me to stay because Atlanta's going to start popping off. All the movies coming here, blah, blah, blah. So I stayed and just kept working for free. I'm in a lot of the Facebook groups, like they got production assistant Facebook groups and stuff like that. They posted about an indie film, and I sent my resume over, stuff like that. They called me, like, you want a PA? It was for free, da-da-da. So I went. When I got there, it just so happened to be all of the crew on the indie film also worked at Tyler Perry Studios. So I'm like, okay, who do I talk to about getting there? I've been trying to work there since college, blah, blah, blah. And the producer of the indie film just so happened to be his assistant director. And so what he liked me, he brought me in to Tyler Perry on my grandma's birthday, April 4th, 2016, as a day player, which is, you're still a PA, but you might only work 1 day out the week or 2 days out the week. You don't work like the whole duration of the show. And he brought me in on second unit. And from there, I continued to like day play and keep working. Then the rest of that year had rolled past. 2017 came. I'm like, okay, don't want to day play anymore. I'm still broke, don't got no money. Like, I need a staff job, like a long show, so you can like really save your money. And luckily, I just been meeting good PAs and ADs along the way that moved up, and like the other lady said, your relationships will get you far in this industry. And after that, people just start recommending me to now where I wasn't only getting like 1-2 jobs a year. Now I'm turning down jobs. Like this whole year, I only been off a whole month. That's it. I've been working on Bobby Brown, Love Is on OWN. I worked on that. I'm doing Little with Will Packer right now, with Regina Hall and Issa Rae and Marseille Martin. So it's working out. It's been a journey, but it's working out.
Let me ask you before we pass the mic on. Would you or do you believe that you would be in your current position with all your offers with or without your degree, or does it matter? Because I think that's what a lot of people want to know about the formal education. Mm-hmm. Do you have to have a degree? Do you think it helped you get where you are? I know we push education. Yeah, we need to be educated, but how do you feel like your degree plays a part?
I'm glad I got mine because that's just a backup, a piece of paper. But when I first got onto set, that was the first thing. I went to Clark Atlanta. Woo, woo, woo. Some people like, okay, we didn't go to school. We don't care. And other people are like, oh yeah, I went to Spelman, Morehouse, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it really just depends. A lot of people are out here working and don't have degrees. It's really just like mastering your craft. But I will say for me, school taught me the basic stuff. So when I got on set, I knew basic walkie etiquette. I knew basic how to read a call sheet. I knew basic stuff. And then when you really get on set and actually start doing it, that's when you learn all the other stuff. And it starts making sense. Like, oh yeah. And then from there, it's just like, keep going.
Awesome. And your current title is?
I'm currently a first team set production assistant. So I'm still on set helping the ADs and the team, but I'm mostly assigned to the cast. So I work with the actors. Once they leave from getting dressed and hair and makeup at base camp, they come to me. I get them wired by sound. I get them final touches on set. If they got costume adjustments, I do that. And then when the director says, ready for the cast, I bring them all out to set and we start shooting.
Very nice. Shaniece?
Breaking in, right? Yeah. Okay. Breaking in, I went to Georgia Film Academy. Like I said, I was a paralegal for almost 20 years. Took care of my kids, got them to college and junior in high school, and I said, it's my turn. So,
would you
like
talk
I said,
a little bit, I didn't mean to interrupt, would you talk a little bit about what Georgia Film Academy is? Because I think it's important with it being local.
Oh, yeah.
I did that too as well.
And so I didn't go to a 4-year college. I was a young mom, and I went to paralegal school, got a paralegal certificate, did that for almost 20 years, and then went to Georgia Film Academy, which is based out of Clayton State University, I believe. So I did 2 semesters of work. So January of 2017, I started taking night classes. So I would go Monday, Wednesday. For 3 hours, I would still work, and I would go do these classes, and we learned everything. My instructor was Akil DuPont, who's an award-winning filmmaker, and so I learned a lot from him. And we learned the basics. She was talking about walkie etiquette and just how to deal with different terminology. There were grips. I didn't know what a grip did until I went to Georgia Film Academy. And so like it was like a college class. It was, so I did that, got my A, and then I had to apply to get into the internship program. So what Georgia Film Academy does is once you pass with a certain grade, they will give you an internship on a show that's shooting. You'll go, and it's a paid internship. And so I did that, and my internship was with an Adult Swim called Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. And it was the worst job I've ever had. I was an office production assistant. You'll hear the term PA up here, and a production assistant can work in every department. And Shanalyna is an assistant director, so she is over all of the set production assistants, which is what Aigne does. So I was an office production assistant because my background was paralegal. I can do office stuff. Let me go do this. It's not like paralegal stuff. As a office PA, I took out trash, I drove cast around.
Brought the refrigerators.
Yes, you clean. You do anything that they ask you. The number one thing I learned as a production assistant is that you don't say no, and that you learn how to do what they ask you to do. And so I did that, and from that internship, I got referrals for work for other places. I day played, but I knew I didn't want to be in the office anymore because that's why I had left the firm. So I was like, what am I? So I don't know how I got to art department. I call Shanalyna a lot. Somehow, I went to accounting, learned that. That was still like the law firm. And then I went to props. And props is part of the art department. A prop is anything that an actor touches or handles. So I went to that department and quickly realized they were like, okay, your background is law. We want you to handle our accounting. So I basically am doing an artistic job, but I'm the technical aspect of their job. So did that for a minute, and then I was out of work. And I had never been out of work since I was 15, so I was freaking out. Called Shanalyna again. I was like, can you get me some work, please? So she introduced me to a lady that had history working for BET, and that lady was working on a Bobby Brown story, and so I got in as a PA, but this time I was working in the set decorating department. Set decorating is everything that you see on a set that doesn't necessarily get handled by an actor. Furniture. If we were on the set now, I mean, the chairs, everything. So I worked there. I was doing that for a minute. And that, the set decoration department is under production design. The production designer of a film or show is over the entire artistic aspect of the show. Logos, wall coverings, everything, anything artistic that you see. That production designer saw me as a PA and came to me on his last day and said, I'm coming back to Atlanta to do another show. Will you come be my coordinator? So now I run the entire art department. I manage the entire art department now based on hard work and then using my connections.
Awesome. Shanalyna, would you also talk about formal education versus hands-on, get on set and do the work training?
Sure. I would say I only want to disagree slightly with what Aigne say about your degree being a piece of paper. Your degree is more than a piece of paper. Your education is something that no one can ever take away from you. Whether you do 2-year college, 4-year college, take workshops along the way, if you learn on the set, it's yours. It can never be taken away. It's sort of like your name. People ask me what my nickname is, and I'm like, Shanalyna? No, your nickname is Shanalyna. I'm like, my mom worked hard on it, it's mine. Unless I give you the power to change it, to turn it into something else, that's what it is. So that being said, yes, I went to school. When I talk to folks, I encourage them to go to school. I would say, in terms of getting a degree in film, that's not necessarily necessary. To get a degree in something. We make it sound pretty easy. We're like, oh, I just called her and then I got this job. It's really not that easy. It's a freelance job. You're an entrepreneur, and the thing that you're selling is you. So unless you are out there doing your best in everything, not just on set, you've got to do it when you're at home. You've got to do it like all the time. Be looking for the next thing, keeping the connections going. I met Shaniece not on set, but I was taking a class. We were in the same class together, the summer workshop on doing filmmaking. And I had already worked in the film industry for 10 years. And now I'm doing short films, and I call in her, and I'm like, hey, Shaniece, can you help me out with props? We've developed that relationship that the last ladies were talking about. I started volunteering. She started volunteering. You know, volunteering is something that you kind of have to do to pay your dues in the industry, whether you have a degree or not. A degree is not your ticket into the door. I can't tell you how many students, I was so embarrassed. I had a girl come to me who went to a college that's historically black, had a film school, got a master's in film, but had never seen a call sheet. I'm like, okay, so you know theory, but you actually know nothing about set. So when you go to college, have in mind what it is you're going for. You want to be a director? Okay, great. But when you're directing, what you're doing is telling other people's stories. If you don't have a life of your own, it's kind of hard to tell a story. You use your information. You use the things that you live and do as part of your story, and that's what helps everybody's story be different. All three of us can tell a different story, even though it's the same written on the page. What we see, what we think, what we feel about what's being spoken is going to vary. So your education comes into that part. As Aigne said, the college gave her a foundation on which to build from. I went to Swarthmore College. At that school, the biggest thing was learning how to think, not just to take things for granted. Not just to read something and go, oh, this must be it. You know how they have those commercials? Well, it's on Google, it must be right. It's on the internet. I'm sorry, is this Microsoft? That's not Google. Okay, great. So, so it's not. You still have to do your research. You still have to do your homework. As the attorney said, you still have to do your due diligence, even within the industry itself. So you can go to college or not. It's not going to make or break you. You can start this industry at any time. She started after being a paralegal for 20 years. I didn't start till I was in my 30s. So, I mean, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh my God, my time has
camera
passed.
till she was in her 30s.
Exactly. You can
I'm
start.
glad they said that because I just turned 28. So my whole 20s, I've been hard on myself. Like, oh, I haven't accomplished nothing yet. I haven't did anything. And I'm meeting people who's like, well, I didn't start till I was 30, or I didn't start PA until I was 29. So now I'm kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I still got a little time, so don't get discouraged.
Yeah, don't get discouraged. And the one thing I would say, if there's anything else you'd rather do, go do it. This will be here. This will be here. If there's something else that you want to do, that you want to try, go do it. It'll only help make you a better filmmaker in the long run.
Awesome. Good stuff. You guys learning a lot? Yeah. So let's talk mentors and mentorships. Did you guys seek out mentors when you started? And if there was someone out here that was seeking how to find a mentor to help them with their career, what suggestion would you give them? So if any of you that want to start.
I don't know what the background is, the spirituality background, but I've read something somewhere that when you're looking for a mentor, sometimes you won't find them. But when it's the proper time, they'll come to you. And I was like, yeah, that sounds sweet and that's cute. It was true for me. Like I said, I wrote my first story in elementary school. But I was telling my son on the way here, I didn't have parents who were supportive of that. They were like, no, you like to write and you talk a lot, you're going into law. And that's what I did. And I was successful there. I was good. But I was in my 30s, and I got to the point in law where I was teaching the attorneys how to practice. But I wasn't making what they were making. So I was like, okay, I'm miserable. And I'm just piggybacking off of what Shanalyna said. If there's anything else you want to do, do it. I didn't want to do anything else. I was tired. I was tired of doing that. So I had to seek a mentor, because my only mentors were attorneys. I knew how to be protected, but I didn't know how to get on the film set. So a mentor didn't come to me. I wrote a script. I wanted to shoot it. And I found somebody that in the program, like Shakisha, who was like, I'll help you with this. And so I guess, the mentor didn't come until Georgia Film Academy, because that's what they were paid to do, but most of my mentors come from me watching and observing how hard they work. I work hard. I tease and I say Shanalyna got me my jobs. I go in there and I bust my butt. I don't say no. I try to figure stuff out. And people gravitate towards that. So like the production designer who came in on his last day and was like, will you come with me and work on my next show? He is my mentor right now.
Work on.
She just knew the lady who did. So, and I also consider my peers mentors. Shanalyna is a mentor to me. She's not going to tell you this, but she's won more than a dozen awards on her short film work outside of what her day job is. And so when she calls me to work on her project, I say yes. And so she's a mentor to me. Aigne is a mentor to me because she goes for what she wants. She's doing PA work, but she wants to do sound. There's not a lot of us in sound. I respect that. So your mentors could even be right next to you. They can bring something to your life that you didn't know that you had, or something that can enhance your storytelling. So for me, I have many, but a lot of them don't know that they are, so.
What about you, Aigne? Do you have a mentor? Did you start with a mentor?
I didn't. I was the one who went out looking, like, can you be my mentor? Can you mentor me? I want to do what you do, or something. A lot of people at first shut me down. Oh, I'm too busy. Oh, I got kids. Oh, this, that. So, and then my mom passed away. My dad, he just turned 78. No offense, but he just can't help me versus how a young dad could. So I was kind of out here by myself for a little bit, but once I started, getting in and working and meeting people, I was able to find other people who I click with that know their stuff and got good information, good knowledge, Like she said, like, I even worked with Miss Shanalyna on a couple of of movies as a PA and got a lot of good game from her. So you just never know who you around. I'm always the person on set who likes to talk to people. So I'm going to come up to you. Hi, I'm Aigne. What do you do? Blah, 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 and go from there. And sometimes people love that because they always say I'm like the burst of energy on set. And because I don't complain a lot or nothing, because I really get lost in my job because it's just so fun. Like, it's just so fun. Like, and no offense, I started working at call centers and Walmart stuff. I hated those jobs. I got fired from all of them because they knew I didn't want to do that stuff. It was crazy. And so now I will say I have people I can call, like if I need advice or need help on something, or even if I got 2 jobs I can take and don't know which one to take. Okay, let's politic this out. What should I do? You know, and it's helped a lot in my success so far. So I appreciate all of it.
Awesome. Shanalyna, I want you to answer the same question, but I also want you to add, as a veteran in this industry, does a veteran still need a mentor? Not. You are educated and
I would say that mentors can be a slightly tricky thing because some people feel that mentors are like the only thing they have to depend on, where mentors are there to help guide you along the way, and then when you move on to something else, your mentor may not be the person that you need anymore. It may be time to move on to another or look for another mentor to get you to that next step. I mean, don't like throw that person to the side, but just recognize that, hey, I love you, we're friends, but now I need to talk to somebody else about this, because they're not going to have all the answers all the time. I would say that it's not a bad idea either to have someone to talk to who is outside of the business that can give you a slightly different perspective, because this business will make you very jaded if you let it. I personally took sort of like a hiatus in between to figure out what I wanted to do. I had AD'd for a while and was like, okay, I hate this. I don't want to sit in a trailer. I worked as a second AD, a key second AD. I worked on Drop Dead Diva. I worked on, what's that show called? The zombie thing? Single Ladies. What's the zombie thing? Yeah, The Walking Dead. I'm sorry. Names. Woo! So you work on these shows, and there is a level of expectation that you have to meet. You sort of, in my particular position, it's like you were trading your life for the work. I'm on call 24/7. Actor is sick at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're gonna call me. If the van breaks down, that has the food in it, they're gonna call me. It's like trying to figure out things that are going on. So I got to a point where it's like, okay, well, what is it that I really wanted to do? When I started, I was like, okay, I'm a PA. Next thing is AD, so I just shot for the AD goal. But at the time, I didn't know that there was the AD training program. I was like, oh, okay, I got to work these 600 days. And it wasn't until my 4th year, when I had almost all my 600 days, that someone said, hey, have you thought about the AD training program, which is like a 2-year program that's run by the guild. So if anybody's interested in being an AD, just Google DGA training program. They have one in LA and they have one in New York. There's only 2. They only take like 12 people each year. But when you finish that program, you're working on NBC, ABC, working for the big movies. Your network is different because you're networking with the industry at that point. You're not working your way up. And people see you as a PA, they see you as an AD. So each time you go from one thing to the next, you gotta show people that's what you are. I'm not a PA anymore. You can't talk to me like that. We don't do that. I don't do that. I do this. I'm an AD. Okay, I'm not an AD anymore. I'm a director. So it's different for each time. And each time, the people that are around you, there are gonna be some people who fall by the wayside. There are gonna be new people that come in. You just have to be open to growing and not be stringent. If you are, it's gonna be a much harder way to go.
You just speak up for me. What was the AD training program?
DGA stands for Directors Guild of America. So Directors Guild of America has a training program, one in LA and one in New York.
Do you already have to be a member?
No, this is what gets you in.
That's what gets you in. Okay,
Yes.
Here we go.
If you're a member, there's no need to join that's why when I had done, there are several ways to go from being a PA to an AD. The training program is just one. So once you're like in the guild, you don't turn around and do the training program.
Got it. Okay, awesome. You right up front. How do you get out of being a professional extra? How do you get out of being a professional extra?
Really getting an agent.
No, you can't. You can't really get an agent with background.
Is your
on
agent
your
booking
resume.
you on extra work? Is your agent booking you on extra work? No. Okay. So are you not booking what your agent is sending you on, or is your agent not getting you the right work? Because you may need a new agent.
Okay, I would say in Atlanta it's a little bit different than it is for like LA and New York, where you need the agent to get into the door, where you have to be union to audition for roles. Here it's more a matter of Georgia's a right to work state, so casting directors will hire folks that do not necessarily have their SAG card yet. I would say that on independent films, don't be an extra. Be an extra only on the films that you're going to get paid for. Not that I don't need extras for my projects, I do. But for independent films, you want to audition like you're doing now. You're sending your resume out. Like I got her resume for my short for Jordan's Cake. So send your resume out. Go do the auditions. If it's not this project, someone's going to remember you from the auditions for something else. So.
And are you on all the casting sites, Actors Access and everything? Okay, so your answer is don't quit. Don't quit. You just keep going.
Hey y'all, I'm Sierra Janae, and I am so happy I was able to be a part of this event and learn from these ladies. They are so talented. They drop so many nuggets, and what I took from it is just stay grinding like it's your exercise. Don't give up, and stay connected and be you.